Imagine this. Japan, late 16th century, an era of chaos, ambition, and endless war. The land is fractured, ruled by powerful warlords, each dreaming of uniting the nation under their own banner. This is the Sengoku Jidai, the age of warring states. For over a century, Japan has been a battlefield. But now, one man stands on the brink of achieving the impossible. Toyotomi Hideyoshi. From humble beginnings as a sandal bearer, Hideyoshi has risen through sheer genius and will to become the most powerful man in Japan. He's conquered his rivals, one by one, through brilliant strategy and overwhelming force. By 1590, only one major obstacle remains in his path to total unification: the formidable Hojo clan. The Hojo are masters of defense. Their stronghold, Odawara Castle, is a legend. It's not just a castle. It's a fortress city, surrounded by miles of outer walls, moats, and a sprawling town that could support an army for years. It was famously called the Unconquerable Castle. The Hojo clan, led by the proud Hojo Yujimasa and his son Yuji, looked at Hideyoshi's approaching army and scoffed. They had withstood sieges before. They believed they could do it again. They would simply wait Hideyoshi out. After all, how could anyone sustain a siege against a fortress as mighty as Odawara? But Hideyoshi was no ordinary warlord. He arrived at Odawara not just with an army, but with an overwhelming force of over 200,000 men. This wasn't just a military campaign. It was a spectacle of power. The sheer scale was something Japan had never seen before. He had the armies of all his loyal vassals, including future legends like Tokugawa Ieyasu and Date Masamune. The fields around Odawara transformed into a sea of banners, tents, and soldiers. But Hideyoshi knew that a direct assault on Odawara would be a bloodbath. The Hojo were prepared for that. So, he decided to play a different game. Instead of trying to break down the walls, he would break their spirit. He initiated one of the most incredible sieges in history. This was no ordinary grim encampment. Hideyoshi built a new town outside the castle walls. A town complete with markets, theaters, tea houses, and even quarters for entertainers and his concubines. He diverted rivers and built a massive wall of his own, encircling the entire Odawara complex, effectively cutting it off from the world. He even had a luxurious castle built for himself on a nearby hill, from which he could oversee the siege in comfort. Inside Odawara, the Hojo clan watched in disbelief. They had planned for a short, brutal siege. Instead, they found themselves trapped, watching their enemy live in luxury just beyond their walls. Weeks turned into months. Hideyoshi's army feasted, celebrated, and were entertained. Meanwhile, inside the unconquerable fortress, supplies began to dwindle, and more importantly, hope began to fade. The psychological pressure was immense. The Hojo's allies, scattered across the Kanto region, were picked off one by Hideyoshi's detached forces. Every piece of news that trickled into the castle was of another defeat. The Hojo were completely and utterly isolated. Their strategy of waiting had backfired spectacularly. They were the ones being worn down, while Hideyoshi's massive coalition remained strong and well-fed. After 3 months of this psychological warfare, the will of the Hojo defenders finally broke. Faced with starvation and the hopelessness of their situation, Hojo Yujinao surrendered. His father Yujimasa was forced to commit seppuku, taking responsibility for the disastrous decision to defy the Great Unifier. The fall of Odawara Castle in 1590 was more than just a military victory. It was the final decisive moment that ended the Sengoku Jidai. With the Hojo defeated, the last major resistance to Hideyoshi's rule was gone. Japan, after more than a century of devastating civil war, was finally unified. The siege of Odawara wasn't won by swords and spears, but by logistics, psychology, and the overwhelming vision of one man. It stands as the last great battle of a bloody era and the dawn of a new, unified Japan. Thanks for watching. If you found this story of strategy and power as fascinating as I do, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from history. See you in the next one.